The transport ship Virili cut through the gray mist of orbit like a scar. Inside, alien cadets whispered among themselves as the human girl sat quietly at the edge of the training bay, her hands folded in her lap, eyes fixed on nothing. Her name was Alara Vale, Terran, survivor of the world once called Geth 9, though the galaxy knew it by another name, Death World. Even among 1,000 species, Death World humans were whispered about. A planet so savage that gravity bent spines, storms shredded steel, and predators learned to stalk the light. The Galactic Union had evacuated it centuries ago, but a handful of its people remained, descendants of the ones too stubborn, too wild, or too strong to die. Alara was one of them. She'd been brought to the Union Academy as a curiosity, a peace offering after the ceasefire with Earth's scattered colonies. The other cadets, sleek and horned and scaled, treated her with fascination at first, until fascination curdled into ridicule. "Careful," hissed a blue-scaled Xeran boy as she walked past. "She might bite." "She already did," another snickered. "Look, her teeth are flat now." Evolution gave up. Alara didn't respond. She adjusted the red scarf around her neck, tugging it higher. Her pulse thudded beneath it, steady, disciplined. She'd learned long ago that silence was armor. But silence didn't stop Kareth. He was draconian, a tall, bronze-skinned warrior with ridged forearms and eyes like molten gold. The son of a warlord who had once scorched Death World settlements. His people were descended from the first dragon kind engineered for battle, fast, strong, proud. Kareth had never known defeat, and when Alara bested him during the combat trials, something inside him twisted like broken metal. She had used no visible weapon, just a movement, fluid, surgical, and he was on the ground, disarmed, stunned by the human who looked like she barely belonged in armor. That night, the barracks buzzed with laughter. The Draconian had been beaten by a fragile, human girl. Maybe her planet taught her to trip over rocks, someone joked. "She didn't fight," Kareth growled, fists tightening.
"She moved."
"Like she knew what I'd do before I did." "She cheated." Alara heard them from her bunk but said nothing. She had heard worse back home, on the planet where only cunning kept you alive past childhood. The next morning, her training unit was deployed for a joint exercise on Arelon Ridge, a frozen moon where atmospheric storms could tear through metal plating. It was supposed to be routine until the sky cracked open. A rogue asteroid swarm descended, shattering their shuttle's hull. Fire, alarms, chaos, then silence. When Kareth awoke, half buried in snow and blood, he saw only 2 survivors moving among the wreckage, Alara and the medic drone. The rest were gone. The storm howled like something alive. He tried to rise but collapsed again, his wing membrane torn. "Don't move," Alara said, crouching beside him. Her voice was steady despite the carnage. "The air's toxic. I sealed your respirator." He blinked, confusion slicing through pain. "Why, help me?" "Because you're still breathing." She dragged him into the ruins of the shuttle, wrapped his wound, and built a shelter from the shattered hull plates. Her movements were efficient, unshaking. Kareth watched her through slitted eyes, this fragile creature from a dead world moving like a ghost through the storm. Hours turned to days. The rescue signal failed. The storm refused to end. Their rations dwindled, and Kareth's strength faded. "Leave me," he rasped. "You'll die if you stay." "I'll die if I leave," Alara said simply, feeding another piece of wreckage into the fire. The scarf around her neck slipped as she bent over him. For the first time, Kareth saw the faint shimmer beneath, lines of light etched into her skin like molten gold. "What is that?" he whispered. Her hand flew up, covering it. "Nothing." But at night, When the cold became unbearable, he felt the faint heat radiating from her side of the shelter. It wasn't the fire, it was her. On the fifth night, predators came. Not animals, not machines, something in between, drawn by the scent of blood. Glacial serpents, metallic and pale, slithered through the snow with needle teeth. Kareth reached for his weapon, but his arm refused to obey. He saw their reflections in her eyes. Dozens of them. "Ilara," he rasped. "Run." She didn't. She stood. And when the first serpent lunged, she tore the scarf aside. The world ignited. The mark on her throat flared, a spiraling dragon sigil burning bright gold. The air rippled. The serpents recoiled, hissing. Then, from the mark, light unfurled like wings, wings made of flame and memory. The storm bent around her. The snow hissed to vapor. She stepped forward, her eyes burning the same molten hue as Kareth's. The serpents attacked, and she met them with bare hands. Every strike was guided by something ancient, a rhythm older than the Union, older than her species. The dragons inside her blood had awakened. When the last predator fell, the ridge was silent again. Kareth stared at her, awe swallowing every trace of pride. You carry the dragon code." She knelt beside him, the glow fading, scarf falling back into place. "My ancestors didn't die when your people left them on Geth 9. They adapted. The dragon gene survived in us." He swallowed. "Your kin." "Not exactly." Her voice softened. "Your kind was made for war. Mine learned to survive it." He stared at her for a long moment, then laughed softly, almost in disbelief. "They mocked you for being from a death world. And now, he said, reaching for her hand, "I'm the one afraid." The days that followed blurred into quiet rhythm, storm, repair, silence, storm again. They talked to stay awake. She told him about the forests of glass and metal storms of Geth 9. He told her about the draconian citadels orbiting suns of fire. And slowly, the distance between them dissolved. When the rescue ship finally arrived, they found two figures standing amid wreckage, his arm around her shoulders, her scarf fluttering in the wind. Back at the academy, the cadets stared in stunned silence. The human girl walked beside the draconian prince, their steps perfectly matched. No one mocked her again. Rumors spread faster than plasma fire. That she'd burned an entire pack of death serpents barehanded, that a dragon mark had glowed on her skin, that Kareth himself had sworn fealty to her clan. But the truth was quieter. Late that night, on the Academy's observation deck, Kareth stood beside her, looking out over the stars. "They'll never see you the same way again," he said. "I don't want them to," she murmured. "Let them remember what a death world human can do." He turned to her. "And the mark." She touched the scarf lightly. "It's more than a mark. It's a reminder that even dragons were born from something human once." He smiled faintly, his breath misting against the cold glass. "If you ever return to Geth 9, I'll come with you." "Why?" she asked softly. He met her eyes. "Because that planet made you, and I'd like to see what kind of world could create someone who makes even dragons bow." For a long moment, neither spoke. The silence between them wasn't awkward. It was alive, heavy with something unspoken. Then, slowly, she reached out, took his hand, and pressed it against the scarf where the mark pulsed faintly beneath her skin. His breath caught. "It doesn't burn?" she whispered. "No," he said, voice low. "It feels like home."